And I want to apologize. Well, it's not really even an apology. I have my niece right now, and my sister is still working because of Corona. So I have to do a session with her today. She's our special guest. This is Nyla. She's 6 months old now. Doesn't time fly? Like, I feel like she was just born yesterday. But anyway.
Okay. Wow, she's super cute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So literally, I haven't traded this week, like I mentioned before, and this is just a learning lesson. I think I mentioned this on the voice recording. Do not trade when you have a lot going on. And like everybody knows in America, it's been a lot going on right now. But even in addition to that, I had one of my friends committed suicide. I guess Corona was like too much for her to deal with on top of everything else. And I had another friend that like died in a car accident. So it's just like, I feel like right now life is just crazy for everybody. So I purposely did not trade like at all. However, yesterday I took this buy position. So I'm gonna tell you guys like the breakdown of this trade, and then I'm gonna kind of go into like how, where this is going next. So literally at this point, yesterday when the market opened up, it was on this sell candle. So the market opened up here, and then this market shot down. So first off, what is the number one indicator that this was going into a buy? Anybody?
Let's see.
61.8. Is the negative 61?
No, the Wicked's option. So yeah. So you guys, our negative 61.8 is an indication for a reversal. Our negative 27, that's just our first take profit area. So you guys know when you draw your fibs, you're always drawing your fibs from point A to point B. So literally we have here, the fibs were drawn from this point to this point. Also understanding the difference between major and minor structure. Nyla, can you please give me a second? She does that when she like really excited. I was hoping she was gonna be asleep during this session. Nyla, please give me 1 second. So here we have this push down. So this impulse, this is the correction here, but also understanding what the overall time frame is and what the overall structure is. Okay, that's the first and foremost thing I want you guys to understand. So initially we came off of Gian, what is this fib right here? That's the previous fib to this major fib is now I just drew. This one from here to here.
Girl, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to blow it up.
Okay, Sophie or Rebecca, one of y'all want to answer? What is this fib?
Wouldn't that be a minor fib?
Exactly. So you guys know, for you guys that's been on my sessions a lot, time frame correlation is the main thing that you need to understand when it comes to the market. Understanding the overall time frame that you're on and understanding the minor moves that are occurring within major structure. So if I look at this entire major structure, right, ultimately off of major structure, it would be this impulse down here. This is the correction, and this is the continuation. Does that make sense before I continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. However, inside of major structure, you have minor structure that occurs. So I tell people all the time, like somebody will say, trade with the trend. Yes, you need to trade with the trend, but you always have to understand what time frame you're on when you're trading with the trend, because that is the make or break of your account. So if somebody says, oh, you know, gold is in a downtrend, yeah, gold is in a downtrend. However, if you understand this time frame correlation, literally this entire push up here to here was literally, how many pips is that? 520 pips from this to this. So if somebody said, oh, well, gold is in a sell, okay, yes, gold is in a sell, but are you going to go into drawdown 520 pips negative? Absolutely not. It will never happen. So you just always need to understand the minor structure that's occurring inside of that major structure. So that minor structure that we have is literally, this is the impulse here. This is the correction. This is our take profit. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah. Okay. This is the impulse here. This is the correction. This is take profit. Negative 61.8 indicates our reversal. It is the second trend line bounce confirmation off of this major, well, this is a 4-hour trend line. Remember, green is the 4-hour. So here we have this trend line bounce, if you guys see this. And I don't want this to like be messy or confuse you, but sometimes things gotta get ugly or get pretty. So this is the second trend line bounce, right? So we have this impulse down, we have this trend line bounce, we have this continuation. Now, I'm about to draw a major structure fib on here, like major structure using that impulse so that we can understand where the market is going next. Do not let this fib confuse you. I'm gonna delete it after I draw it just so the chart doesn't get too messy, but we need to see where our overall take profit is going to be ultimately on main structure. So here, if we draw this, this will be, ooh, okay. This will be point A here, the point B down here. So that lines up with this negative 27, which is perfect. And then what is our next take profit point? Do you see this? Negative 61.8 down here? Y'all see that?
That lines up perfectly with your support resistance.
Exactly. So what is that called in the market when you have multiple things that line up to give you a confirmation of where price is going?
Influence.
Listen, at least y'all let me know y'all be paying attention, okay? All right, so let me delete, oops, no, deleted the wrong one. Hold on a second. Okay. And then, okay, delete that one. So now, why is this area where we are right now so critical?
Hey, wait.
Can you guys put your microphones on mute? Why is this area so critical where we are right now?
It's at the trend line.
Yes.
Is that the continuation of a trend?
Well, yes, but what else? It's two possible things that can happen at this area and this still be an overall downtrend. That's why I went back a few before I just talked about this shooting down, because there's two possible options.
They can break your trend.
It can break and go to the trend
Come up 38
up there.
and then still drop down. Or it can respect the green trend and come down to your 61.8 because it's still creating highs and lows. And it didn't break its next high until it breaks the 50%.
Exactly. So this can do two of one. Well, it could do one of two things. So the first thing it can do is literally shoot down from here, just like previous here. So if I just copy and paste this price structure here, you can have that. Now, my intuition, like, and I know this might sound crazy to have an intuition in the market or whatever the case may be. This is what I want to see happen, but it would be too easy if this happened. And I know that sounds crazy because sometimes price can just be clear as day. The possible option that might happen that I need you guys to be aware of is, hold on, let me find it. Because when you understand structure, you understand that literally when we talk about this fib level, when people talk about, oh, how far is it going to go back on a fib? When you understand your fib levels, you understand that price can go to 23.6, 38.2, 50%, 61.8, 78.6. Until it breaks this high right here, it is still in a downtrend off of overall main structure. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it would be perfect. Like, and then you see kind of how this bullish, we need to see how these candles close. That's the main thing, because right now it's like one of them critical areas. That's why I had my take profit at this trend line, because this is an area where I need to wait and see what's going to happen. And that's also another learning lesson for you guys. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen until the market is like telling a story. It's like building a case. Like, you have to have, if somebody gets arrested, they have to have evidence to build upon that person to say that they did something, right? In the market, you have to have evidence to give you a bias of what's going to happen next, so you can know what's happening in the market. Right now, with all of this exhaustion, we can literally say this is going to drop, but it depends on how these candles close. So until you have a break of structure, do not take a buy. You are in a seller's market. I mean, until you have a break of structure of this bottom trend line here, do not take a sell. You are still in a buyer's market. Does that make sense? So this is this bottom trend line that I'm referring to here. But if this keeps forming all of this wick exhaustion, then I'm looking for a sell to this negative 61.8. Now, ultimately, period, point blank, is going to be a sell to the negative 61.8. But what I want you guys to get into your minds is entries matter, right? So I could take a sell, you could take a sell, somebody else on this call could take a sell, and we all take sells in different positions, and I make $8,000 and somebody else make $5 because and somebody else below their account. And it all depends on those entries. So here, let me just find a little example real quick. Oh, actually, we can use this. This was perfect. This here. Actually, we can smack this whole thing. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So, if you do not have a break of this trend line right now, wait, because the market will continue pulling back, and it still will be that overall main trend. Does that make sense? Does everybody see this? Is this clear?
Yes. In other words, you're saying it can go up higher before it breaks back down.
Yes, because it's still in a downtrend regardless until it breaks this high right here.
Okay.
So we have this impulse, correction, continuation. This could be another correction up until this point. And this will still be a respect of structure. But you also have minor structure to take into account, which is like really, that honestly is the differentiating factor between successful traders and ones that aren't successful, is literally understanding structure and understanding the difference between major and minor structure.
I swear,
like,
I think
always
teaching structure properly, because that just made like.
You say what?
For teaching structure properly, because understanding structure like just completely change.
Yeah, like it will change your whole everything in trading.
Don't worry, Wednesday's coming, all right?
You say what?
Wednesday's coming.
Wednesday's coming. What do you mean? Oh, wait, what do you mean? Oh, your haircut.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. So here is what I'm talking about. So impulse here. This same thing can happen here. Impulse, correction, continue. Everybody, like, and then also another indicating factor is when everybody says sell, like I swear so many people, like even I was on Instagram earlier and I follow like a whole bunch of different traders pages and just like my friends that's just traders, and I'm just scrolling through. Anytime everybody has the same bias, you know the market not just about to play out like that. Like I'm trying to tell you. Anytime everybody says, oh my God, it's so perfect, count on it not being perfect. Count on either the broker doing some BS or something gonna happen.
If that ain't the truth.
No. Okay, well, it's not true for you, it's true for me. And what I have seen over a duration of time, it will be setups where everybody will call it out like, oh, I remember a CAD JPY setup that, and I don't even trade CAD JPY, but this was like a learning lesson for me. It was probably like It was before Nyla was born, so probably around like October, because I was in Aruba. Yeah, this was it. So everybody was calling out, and it was my birthday weekend. So I'm like, I don't feel like marking up charts for real. So I just took one of my friends' words for it. Everybody's like, oh, Cash JPY gonna sell, Cash JPY gonna sell. Literally, I lost like $1,000 this day off of something so stupid just because I didn't mark it up myself. And it was the perfect setup, just like this, to say, oh, you know, gold is about to sell right now. Literally, all I'm trying to get you to take from this is be aware and be cautious and don't enter the market until you have a break and retest. So if this green trend line, literally draw your trend lines yourself. If this green trend line gets broken, literally, you will have this happen. Let me go to it. So you will literally have this exact replica of what originally happened here to here. So you have here, see here, put it right here. So you guys even see on here, this broke down, this retested even the minor structure trend line. Like even when you put on your ghost patterns on your charts, they also tell you what can happen. So here on smaller structure, this is doing this, it's broke, this is retest, this is the sell. Always make sure this line gets retested before you enter the market, okay? So I need to see how this is gonna play out because right now, those are my two biases. Period point blank is going to negative 61.8, but I need to see if the structure that it's in right now is either gonna break and retest from here and drop, or if it's gonna pull back some more before dropping. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let me put both of those on my chart just so I have them. I'll know by morning. Like typically London, or like if I see a whole bunch of more like wick exhaustion candles, it'll give me an indication of like where price is going. But for now, I need to see how this reacts at this level. So it's just at a very, very, very critical area here. What else? US 30. Okay, so this literally just got to this point here. This negative 27 point. So this was a bias. I think I marked this up Friday or Saturday. I was like, I need to get back in the market. So, and I already like how this wick is forming out right here. So this literally just hit my take profit one. But even with this, so let me scoot this out the way. Even with this area, because this is at a weekly level, this dotted line that I have across here, you see this green trend line here, just like on gold, wait for a break and retest of this. If you do not see a break and retest of this, keep buying and follow it with a trailing stop loss because this can push up to this negative 61.8. But if it does this break and retest, I have it breaking and retesting to this second green trend line here, which is a 4-hour. Does everybody see what I see? Not does everybody see what I see. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So even with this, this is the fibs drawn point A to point B. This is 23.6 retrace level. Take profit one. We need to see if it's gonna pull back before it goes to take profit two or shoot up to take profit two from here. And again, you'll know that during London session. So let's see. Euro JPY, I marked up earlier or the other day as well. So let me go out some. Okay, so this already started pulling back to this area here. No, let me. Did I do these on a daily? Why are they so spaced out like this? Okay, this is ugly. So I'm about to delete it now, and I'm gonna come up with another one. Let me put that back where I had it. So let me break down Euro JPY though while we're on it. So remember what we just talked about when we talked about highs and lows being broken. So if we look at where this daily is right now, and this is literally just structure, okay? Understanding structure is everything in the market. So we have lower lows and lower highs all throughout. This last high got broken. Does everybody see that? Everybody see that? Not only that, this supply zone right here also got broken. So understanding that alone lets me know that we are no longer in a downtrend. We are now in a uptrend on overall structure. Now, with that being said, there are areas in which price has not returned to. So we had a break here. So this is good. Let me delete this now. This is good because we already have a lot of seller's momentum. This literally just happened today. Let me go to 1 hour so we can see close up. Okay, perfect. All right, so we have a lot. Okay, so literally this is already, if I draw a, let's just draw 1 hour. Dang, everything is kind of at critical areas here right now. Because if I draw this trend line straight, everything is at a trend line right now, but this trend line is clearly getting broken here. Wait, let me draw it right. Okay, yeah, this is great. So this is, what time is it? Did something just happen with JPY news? Like this is literally falling while we're speaking. I want to see if this trend line gets respected because it could just wake up from here. But literally this is like falling as we speak. If we see a push down to this red area, this is going to retest this trend line and it's going to fall to this green trend line here. Does everybody see that? So it'll be a retest. It'll push down to this red here. And then this is the net zone after that point. And then remember what we talk about though. Overall structure. So you have minor structure and major structure. Minor structure is now going into a sell. Major structure, understanding and realizing that that last high got broken. Our major structure, this overall take profit will literally be at, hold on, because these y'all faces is in the way of my chart. Does everybody see this fib? Everybody see this fib?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I also want to just indicate two things that are also going on here. Does everybody see how this black trend line is, I think I drew this on the weekly. This black trend line never got retested. It just broke through. So we have to have a pullback on Euro JPY. So we can actually, like, honestly, I think that pullback's already starting to happen. We just need to see how these candles finish forming off here. But anyway, after this pullback, expect a buy. Now, the first area we can carry this pullback to is this supply zone from where I had this marked up earlier. This supply zone next area is this weekly trend line. and also this 4-hour trend line. That's confluence because they're both like in the same area, but don't expect this to just fall like it just pushed up here. Like it'll probably consolidate out just a little bit, especially because the trend line that's being broken right now, it has to still be retested. So when I say like consolidate out, let me just see if I could just find like a little example real quick and just paste it for you guys. Kind of like this. You see how it's a downtrend, but it kind of like is a little consolidated. That's a good word. After it breaks that, it can give us something like, let me find another one. I don't like that one. Let me go to a higher time frame. Something first. When I do my bars, literally, I just find patterns that's like somewhat equivalent. So can somebody point out, literally, I see one already, but can somebody point out something that you see that looks similar to what you see right here? You can write on my screen and just like write it so I can see it. You have 2 areas. Yes, exactly. Look at you. Who did it? No, not that one.
Me.
Who did that
That was
one?
me.
Okay, well, not the yellow one, because the yellow one, this is a downward push. It will not be that. But you have this area here that pulled back and just shot straight up, but you also have this area here that is aggressive coming from this low. You see that? And then we have like a little bit of consolidation out before we had that push up. So, I mean, I'm leaning more towards this one just because this is very aggressive. However, also pointing out the fact that this, even this, I feel like everything is like outside of the moves that happened yesterday. Like yesterday, it was clear. Dang, I wish we would have did this session on Sunday, because yesterday it was so clear what gold was doing. It was so clear what US 30 was doing, because they all had to reach their fib levels. And now where price is on everything, it's kind of like in them areas where they're all at trend lines. Like they're all at like areas where you have to wait for confirmation opposed to just taking a trade. Like sometimes you could just literally pop in a trade and it just play out immediately. But where we are right now, even with this, like the first thing, remember we talked about this weekly trend line that never got retested. So if we pull this out here, I want to show y'all something. Actually, let me get the whole thing so you can even see how this just like the market always repeats itself, always. So let me show you. If that weekly area gets retested immediately, do you see that?
That's perfect. Wow.
I know, it'd be so, it'd be, like, I swear, trading, once you like learn how to read the charts, it'd be so easy. But that's only if it gets retested immediately, right? I mean, that's only if it doesn't get retested immediately, because also, mind you, we have this 4-hour trend line right now that's already drawn on here, this green trend line. That green trend line can literally push off just like this. Do you see that? So that's what I'm saying. Like every area that we're at right now in the market is just a critical area.
Right, because if it breaks back down to your main black line, it can still retest the resistance area and stuff back down, as well as a green triangle.
Exactly.
Green, line. Right, exactly. So it's just like you got to kind of wait and see. Got you.
Yeah, because either way, and it sucks because it's like I hate them areas. That's when, like when I have areas like this is when I just literally set my alerts.
Because
and
I
go
had
by days. I don't have to
the
wait.
crazy you did this. I had my charts marked and I just looked at them like, oh shoot, my charts look very, very similar. And but I was trying to like kind of figure out, not what the next step, but just kind of figure out where it's gonna go. And it's crazy that you confirmed it. Because I'm like, all right, now I was like, all right, yeah, that's definitely the way it should go.
Yeah, because sometimes, like I tell people all the time, don't force the trade. Like literally wait for it to play out to give you some indication of what's happening before you take it. Because mind you, this is still going to be in a buy. Like ultimately, what I'm like, period, point blank, what you can have 100% confidence in is that gold is going down to that negative 61.8. Euro JPY is going up to this negative 61.8. However, the entry is the most important part.
Right.
I wait for confirmation before I enter the trade, and that's how I don't lose trades. Some people just be like, oh, well, I'm going to risk it and I'm just going to go for it. But you don't know. Like, you don't know. Nobody controls the market at all. But you form biases based off of what the market has already told you. It's like telling a story or watching a movie. Have you ever, like, watched a movie and you have, like, my dad does this all the time. He will literally tell you what the hell about to happen in a movie, and he ain't never watched a movie before, but he just like a storyteller. Like that's kind of how the market is. Like it's telling a story. You don't know what's going to happen next until you have that confirmation or an indication of something that occurred that you can line up with structure to make that bias complete. So even with this being said, like I just mentioned before, this is still a buy. It will still continue to be a buy. However, understanding that structure, because this high got broken here, we automatically know it's a buy. Okay, great. We're in a buy now. But the problem is, and what people like, the reason I love fibs so much is price literally, fibs are used to determine the retrace of a counter trend based on the current trend of the market, right? So if I'm determining this retrace, you don't know if it's going to stop at 23.6, 38.2, 50%, 61.8. Nobody knows that. But what you do know is how to react at certain areas, and the market always gives you an indication of what it's going to do next. That's literally why I set my alerts so that I already just like, okay, if it comes here, my alert get triggered. Now I know what to look for. Does that make sense?
Can I ask a question, Jessica? Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm all right. With this is a problem I've had a couple of times, like where that ghost pattern hits the 50, I would have expected it to just take off from there, and I wouldn't have anticipated that it would hit the 88.
So when it comes to that, that's literally trend lines, like breaks and retests, because just like you can have a break and retest of minor structure that occurs, you have a break and retest of major structure. So if I understand that this overall major structure, the break and retest will be this impulse up, this correction, the break and retest, the retest of this daily trend line here to go up, I also understand that inside of minor structure, if I have a break and a retest of this trend line here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this I just did, like I just took this off of the daily fib, so you will never enter off the daily. Your retest will never look like this, based off of like how this just formed up, because you're always looking at the smaller time frame for your entries. Like never ever enter off the daily, but I'm just like proving a point right now. But at the moment in which you have this break and retest, that's perfectly fine to carry that 50 up until you have that indication that the market is not ready yet. How do you know that the market is not ready yet? Because the market always gives you a trend inside of a trend. So you still need to practice your minor structure, because let's say you did get in at a buy there. That's perfectly fine. You trade, dang, come on, computer, don't do me like this now. Hold on, I have to wait for it to get itself together. Okay, so, okay, great. Okay, so even if you did get in at that 50, that's perfectly fine. That 50 to here is still like 400 pips. You catch the buy. And then at the moment in which you have a break of that minor trend that's inside of that major trend, you know that it's about to sell off. Like, that's where you just always have to, like, literally, you just have to always know where you are in the market. Because it's perfectly fine if you take a buy at that area. Perfectly 100% fine. But you have to understand where you are. And you have to understand where price can also go. Like, the very first thing that I said before we drew anything on here is notice how this weekly trend line never got retested. That was the first thing I said.
Yes.
Because that gives me a bias to understand that at some point, price gonna pull back to that area, because you never have a break without a retest. It might not happen immediately, but it will always happen.
I got a question about that. So,
Yeah.
So now, I'm marking up my charts and I'm, playing out the scenarios on the chart. So now you're saying if it does shoot up straight up to the negative 61.8, you are still going to expect the retest to drop down to your major trend line if it doesn't, break your green.
Yeah,
break your
it will
resistance,
always be a
drop down
retest.
further.
It'll just be a
Right,
retest on minor structure and a major
Okay.
structure. And I'm about to call it. I remember I said it was going to be a short night because I have to take my niece to my sister's house. So I have to go, you guys. But I hope that you guys have a wonderful
Thank you for the session.
Absolutely, no problem. And as soon as Sophie finishes downloading a recording, I'll put it in like the group for you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks,
Have a
Jen.
great day.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jess.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.